So I sold the Cobra.
I didn't even notice it wasn't in the garage.
Yep, she gone. She just somebody bought it. I don't know, like 9 o'clock this morning.
No kidding.
Yeah. So now I've got some cash burning a hole in my pocket.
Okay.
Bitcoin?
Ooh. How long you want to sit on that for?
Like a week.
A week? Oh, man. I don't know about a week.
I really need to fill that garage stall.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What's next?
I think it'll be us.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's got to be next.
Another truck?
Yeah.
I definitely don't dislike that idea.
Yeah.
I always want another one. I've been conflicted about that. I don't really have like the garage space, like clean, good garage space for something like that. Like I always know like long term I'd want another one. Like the kind of keep forever one, but it's like everything else, they just keep going up in price and like now is not a good time, but they just get more expensive and like I don't have a house is more of a priority and it's like I don't have a place to keep it. It's like
Yeah, isn't that wild?
it's also why I sold the Mach one when I did too, but
Yeah.
so I have a good place to store it.
I could have swore I saw it pop up on Marketplace while I was looking too. It was the same as Azure Blue and low miles and high price, but
I didn't even realize it wasn't in the garage. Like I saw the Jeep and like that door was open. I just didn't look over there when I ran in.
yeah.
So you weren't lying when you said for like a week.
I mean, if a truck pops up, like it's just
Right.
in the safe, I'm not gonna turn it into gold or like.
Yeah,
I was joking about Bitcoin.
Yeah, not physical gold, but I don't know. The biggest thing I guess is just what the timeline's actually going to be. Is that's the problem? Is you don't have any control over that. It's like it could be a week or it could be 7 months.
Yeah,
Like it could be spring.
which is I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I mean it's not like you're going to probably drive it during the winter. I imagine.
Yeah. Correct.
So like, are you actually thinking about investing that money in the interim, or?
I mean, I kind of wanted the cash liquid, so if something popped up, I could just go get it. But
Yeah.
I mean, it could be a week, it could be 6 months. I don't know.
Yeah, it's an interesting point. I still think it's worthwhile to invest it. It's just needs to be very liquid and low risk.
Yeah.
Also, it's like kind of the same mentality I've had with saving for a house is if it's invested, what you can afford goes up. Like obviously you're not financing it like you're going to pay for the whole thing, but the more down on a house makes it a little more affordable. Not necessarily buy a more expensive house, but it just makes it more affordable.
Sure.
So like
Budget increases a little.
yeah, I mean if you invested that money and went up a little bit, it's like it's a little bit more that you can spend that you don't actually have to work for.
But do truck prices also go up in spring?
That's true.
Yeah.
But ultimately, that just comes down to finding the right truck at the right time. That's kind of is what it is. You just got to play the opportunities you have. It's hard to say. Just depends on the deal because you might find the person that doesn't want to store it. Might want to sell it cheaper. Then you have somebody that's going to store it and try to get more money. Yeah. Based on the scenario and stuff, I definitely would still invest it. I think my go-to for something like that would probably be like a high-yield savings.
Sure.
Fed just cut rate earlier this week by like 25 basis points. So I think high yields are going to pay high 3%. And I don't know, 3% is better than negative 3%.
Yep, the value of the dollar.
And it's like really liquid. I mean, it's not much different than putting in like a savings account. So
Right.
worst case scenario, pays for tax, title, license. Like that's kind of nice because you're going to have to pay that on top of that.
Yeah, thanks, government.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely would do something with it. If you don't find something within like a week or two, I would say. But
All right, enough about trucks. Let's talk real estate.
yeah, Fed just cut rate 25 basis points. Should see interest rates come down. Seems like housing pricing as of recent has kind of, I don't want to say go down, but like tapered off. It's been like less hot, at least around here. It's like prices aren't just like rapidly climbing everywhere. It's like it's kind of just mellowed out a little bit.
Yeah, I've seen it even in my quarterly tracker. Our rental house went up From Q1 to Q2, 11%, but then from Q2 to Q3, it stayed flat.
So Q1 to Q2 was 11%, and then Q2 to Q3 was flat.
Yeah, it looks good on the budget sheet.
Yes, it does. When you're calculating returns, you also, just like stock market and everything else, you have to take into consideration inflation. The last reports they're gauging inflation around 3-ish% last I heard, which...
How accurate is that really?
Yeah. The way they calculate inflation versus what some people call like true inflation are two different numbers. There's not like a perfect math equation to figure out what it is. It's kind of a complex thing too, because like it's not just like the stuff getting more expensive, because I mean there's other outlying factors like eggs go up, and it's like, well, it's because all these chickens died. It's like that's not really a monetary problem. That's an economics, supply and demand problem.
Maybe that's why Justin Bieber said, "Keep checking these chickens."
Yeah, did he say that?
Or is it "Heat checking these chickens"? This is a great song. Speed Demon.
Okay. So it's hard to gauge like the true inflation. It's not like a simple math equation. It's very complex, and that's why the ones who print the money came up with calculations and seem to always alter the mixed bag of goods to kind of skew inflation downward. But nonetheless, definitely outpacing inflation there, which is a plus. Also some
from Q1 to Q2, Q2
but even,
to Q3.
Even on the two, I mean, you're still talking to 5.5%. Like we're still better than 3%. Inflation is probably a little bit higher. Like I said, previous episodes, if you're in the near term trying to calculate inflation, like they shoot for 2%, I would calculate like at least 4%, because what they say and what it actually is are kind of two different things. I mean, I think most people can feel that. If you look at how much stuff costs over the last decade, and they're like, it's 2%, but like prices have all gone up by drastically more than 2%. Like,
but how does that affect the debt on the house, like the mortgage?
A lot of people I talk to that just have a very traditional mindset. Like everyone wants to pay their mortgage down faster or get done early, which depending on your situation is not a bad thing. But if you can finance debt out over a long time horizon at a reasonable rate, let's say 5% or less.
Like 20 or 30 years or something?
Yeah. We'll use like a mortgage, for example. The debt becomes like less consequential over time. I don't mean like you don't have the liability to pay it, but like if you were in $10,000 in debt, as example, like today, that's not equivalent to being $10,000 in debt in 2050, because the value of the dollar has changed. The value of the dollar will go down
a lot.
So there's something we said for that with, I'll just say real estate as an example. The debt isn't, I don't know how else to say it other than it's not as consequential. Like the debt doesn't have the same negative value per se, especially with real estate going up and at least recently, like outpacing inflation. I don't know.
Well, you mentioned outpacing inflation. The other thing to be said about that too is if you're trying to pay off your debt faster, I mean, that's great, and it works for a lot of people, but you could actually be taking that extra money and investing it.
Yes.
To negate the
and
interest rate and the inflation.
I was talking with somebody in my local today about this, and I was like, if I had a house that was like half paid off, and like he'd alluded to me that his mortgage rate is like 2.5%, and I was like, if you're like in the 2 to 3% on like a 30-year time horizon, like that's free money. Like those dollars aren't going to be worth anything in the future. I mean, if you can arbitrage that and put it anywhere else, I mean, if you can find a better rate of return than that 2%, like the debt is like losing value as debt. And like if you're only paying 2.5% and you find a way to make 6% or 8%, like you're way better off financially. Like if you buy an asset that's increasing in value at greater than 2.5%, or like a cash flowing asset or something, like you end up using the money you're making to replace, like, what's a better way to phrase this? That money that is making you money eventually will pay for that mortgage instead of you having to go to work.
Right.
So
Compound interest.
yeah,
Like
so
basic math.
everyone thinks like, oh, I'm gonna have to like work longer or like have more financial liabilities. Like I have to like keep working, and it's like no, like if you create enough income streams or like assets that are growing, like that replaces your income. Ideally, like that's how you build wealth. If you're just trading time for dollars, like you can't get ahead.
Yeah. One of our buddies has a phrase that I enjoy quite often. It's, could you imagine going around the Monopoly board and just passing go and collecting $200 and not acquiring any assets? And just keep passing go until you die.
Yeah, the older I get, the more and more I really am trying to get away from trading my time for dollars. Like buying things that are going up in value. It's just like an endless cycle of working and paying for
Taxes,
stuff, and then like you want more stuff or
more taxes,
paying for a house. Like you're just always
taxed.
yes, exactly. It's just like you can't ever win, and that's the hard part too. Is like, well, it's like, well, save some money. It's like, well, that's losing value. Like you have to find a better savings vehicle. And what a great segue. I know in the past I said, who wants to buy gold bars and put them in their closet? I actually recently have decided to, and this has always kind of been my intention, but I want to diversify a little bit, and I don't want all of my net worth in a retirement account, or because I don't have a home. Like a lot of people's money is either in a home or a retirement account. Like that's where most people's net worth comes from. I don't want all of mine in a home and a retirement account. And on the flip side, I don't necessarily want 100% of my net worth in Bitcoin. As much as I love Bitcoin, you still have some risk exposure there.
And you're never going to sell it anyway.
Yeah, and yeah, I have a really hard time parting ways with it. But I think this next year, one thing I do plan on adding to my balance sheet a little bit is some actual physical gold. And the reason being is it's another store of value. And the way I look at it, I think the stock market's tremendously overvalued. I have a lot of concerns there.
I heard you don't have to go out to California and dig it up. You can just get it from Costco now.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
It is. They have pretty good pricing. Ships to your doorstep for free. Everything goes in cycles. And the thought process of like, everyone used to save money, put it in a coffee can. It was good enough. Got you where you needed to go. And then it was buying CDs. Like that was a thing. And then, then it was buying bonds, and eventually retirement accounts became a thing. And one way for people to get ahead was tax advantage retirement accounts. And then everyone did that. And the cycles are always changing. I don't know if in our lifetime we're going to see a bit of a pivot, but I just think the stock market is so tremendously overvalued.
I think we'll see a pivot in our lifetime.
For a lot of reasons. There's a lot of context behind this. Like I could talk for hours to try and explain this. But essentially, a lot of the stock market is at, or individual stocks or the stock market as a whole is at all-time highs, which is not bad not a bad thing. It doesn't mean like you're in a tremendous amount of risk, but also on top of being at all-time highs, a lot of companies, especially around AI, because that's been the next big thing of our lifetime, is a lot of these companies are trading at all-time high multiples. So like basically the amount of shares available times the stock price is like the market cap. And typically you'll see like, I'll just make up a company, XYZ.
Wow, real creative.
Yeah, we'll trade at like, 3 or 5 times earnings. So if they make like $1 million a year, it's like typically their market cap
3 to 5 million
is going to be, it's going to be 3 to 5x that. A lot of these companies are trading much higher than that, like double digits. And there's a lot of companies that are in the AI sector that aren't even necessarily profitable, and they traded a pretty hefty multiple. So I think there's some risk exposure, multiple contraction. Do I think AI is going to be huge and important? Yes. I would be willing to bet pretty much anyone on the planet would say the internet was revolutionary. We still had the .com explosion. Like,
Yeah.
That doesn't mean like stocks just go to infinity forever. Like that doesn't mean there isn't going to be or could be a correction. And I think people have predicted like 50 of the last 3 recessions. It's like everyone says that,
Right.
tomorrow we're having a recession. Like anywhere you look, you'll find someone that says that. But ultimately, like it is inevitable. Like nothing just goes up into an infinity. It might be 20 years from now, but that's not really the point. I think there's a lot of risk exposure there. If you look at the amount of people that own stocks, typically older, most of them are, I'll say for like the average American, not like a hedge fund, but like they're in retirement accounts. And eventually they'll be selling those to live off of. They don't sell them all at once, but our generation's having a hard time with like home affordability and stuff. And like most of them aren't putting like 20% of their pay away in retirement. So like, I don't know.
Who are they selling these to?
Yeah. So, I mean, who are they selling them to? We'll play a small part into it. The reason I feel like there's so much risk is like a culmination of all of these things. It's not like AI stocks are going to tank and then no one's going to be able to afford food. Like, that's not what I'm saying. I just think there's a lot of risk out there, and I just don't see a value. I have people that talk to me about like IPOs, new companies coming out, and they're like, "Oh, it's in this sector," and like, I think it's going to be really big. It's like, okay, but how many shares are they putting out, and at what price? Well, like, if it's 100 shares at $100, like, okay, but like, what if it's 100 shares and they're like 100,000 a share? Like, like, how are you gauging the value of that? Like, it hasn't had any price discovery yet, but like, how do you determine if it's overvalued? Like, everything's going to be big one day, but like, how do you value that? Like, how do you determine the value of that company?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, electric cars are going to be huge. It's like, okay, but like, should you go buy a $250,000 electric car? Like, does it make sense? Or like, buy one at 30 grand?
Right.
Like, at what point do you like associate a value to it? Like, yeah, it may be a bigger market, but like, are you paying for the bigger market when it's not the bigger market yet? Because like some other companies won't get there.
Yeah.
There's several different like reports. If you look at like things, like if you strip out inflation and just look at like actual rate of returns, the S&P 500, if you take out the top 10 stocks, so the Mag 7 or just beyond that, the other 490 stocks are like basically flat. Like they're really not growing that well, or at least if you strip out inflation. So the top 4, except for the top 10, the other 490 largest American publicly traded companies that have, like, I spoke with a friend the other day. I used like Colgate Palmolive, who built like they're like, their resources are like endless. Like their market cap was like 70 billion. So like they have a lot of resources. And if like companies like that can't beat inflation rates and like they just aren't performing that well,
We're in trouble.
and like all of our gains are coming from 10 companies that are big tech, that are AI related, it's alarming to me, especially coming out of like post 2020-ish. Like we've seen a lot of time at very low interest rates. Like when people are getting 2-3% mortgages, like interest rates were low. And if we're not seeing like great growth, or like all the growth that has come from that has just literally been like cheap money.
Yeah.
So like if I give you 100 grand to like of money to go invest to make money, and you bring me back like 101 grand, it's like, oh, wow. Like, I don't know. I just think everything's tremendously overvalued. With all of the cheap money that's been available and a large portion of money forcibly just gets injected into the market via everyone's retirement, like there's just money just left and right getting thrown at the market, and only the top 10 are doing, I would say, exceptionally well. I think that's alarming. Recently, Moody's Analytics, they do a lot of credit rating and analytics and stuff. They recently just posted an article saying that 50% of consumer spending is done by the top 10%. So a lot of reports and decision making at the Fed and everywhere else is they look at like how many people are employed and how much money they're spending. And it shows of all the consumer spending, like 50% of that is coming from the top 10%.
That's outrageous.
Which is a little alarming because like the people in the middle class and lower class like don't have money to spend. So it's like, how well is the economy doing? Well, it's like, well, the top 490 of the top 500 aren't performing that well. And like the lower middle class like don't have a whole lot of extra money to spend, and they can't afford a house. It's like all kind of alarming. So what am I going to do outside of that? So I don't own a home yet. I
Yeah,
don't
so
necessarily want like any more risk exposure when it comes to like the stock market. And everyone's like, well, it's always going to come back. It's like, yes, I agree with that. I'm not saying I'm cashing out my 401, but like,
you just want to diversify.
yeah, like at what point do you not just put all of your money in your retirement? Like, I think there's better ideas. There's other ways to hedge. Like the whole reason you don't just buy like 2 stocks and you buy like indices and other stuff is like for diversification and risk exposure. And I mean, I think it's plausible we'll see quite a downturn in the market. I mean, it is inevitable, but do I want to pour a healthy percent of my pay into that when I am anticipating a haircut? So what do I do instead? I'm pretty close to getting, within the next month or so, I'll be at my benchmark or where I want to be or how much of my portfolio I want in Bitcoin. And then I think from there, I'm going to diversify a little bit into physical gold. Same thing, store of value, super durable asset. It doesn't evaporate or disappear. Like it had for the last, I don't know how many thousands of years, it's been a good store of value. I think I'm going to diversify into that a little bit. And I think when the time comes when I go to build a house or I need that money to buy land next year, like I've talked about, what I'll end up doing is I'll sell gold and hold Bitcoin instead. That's kind of been my latest thesis.
That's an interesting point. So say we want to diversify for the children, give them some different assets.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it would be best to buy Bitcoin ourselves, hold on to it, and then gift it to them? Or can you open up a separate account for them to buy the Bitcoin? Or do you think gold might be the move for that?
I think based on their time horizon, I still think personally I like Bitcoin for that. Also, you don't have to like store physical gold for the next several decades. As far as buying it yourself or who's going to custodian it, the only piece of the puzzle I haven't figured out, I'm not a tax lawyer, I'm not a tax person, is taxes. Because you can gift...
There's that word again.
You can give people, X amount a year and stuff, but like, I mean, say they get money for their birthday. Does it make any difference if you put it in your savings account, you put it in a safe, you put it in a physical wallet and give that to them to put under their bed? Like, it doesn't really make a difference. I've also thought about, what about opening a Roth IRA for your kids? It just also ultimately comes down to taxes. That's the only piece of the puzzle I haven't figured out. I mean, what I've thought about in the past is you just buy it and then you buy a physical wallet, a hardware wallet, and you put it on a wallet for them.
Bitcoin, you're saying, right?
Yeah. The only thing is the tax implications, because ultimately it's going to grow quite a bit between now and if or when they'll ever sell it.
And with everything going on in the government right now, who knows what the tax laws are going to be around Bitcoin?
Yeah, tax laws around crypto are kind of in their infancy, and within the next 2 to 5 years, they're going to change, I'm sure, in some way. But anything that goes up and then you sell it, you're pretty much liable to pay taxes on. So like if you were to, realistically, if you buy a car, it goes up in value and sell it, like you are obligated to claim that and pay taxes. Do most people do that? You tell me.
Sure.
But I mean, also as of this year, some of the tax laws have changed, and I've been repeatedly asked, and I put it off to confirm or update my tax information on brokerages I use. So I think they're starting to keep track of this. So I don't know. The biggest thing is I would just talk to a tax person, see where we're at with tax laws now, and come up with a strategy. But I don't think it matters who buys it. But I would self-custody it in some way, shape, or form. Putting it on a wallet,
Yeah, there's a lot to think about with the future. I think we could spend a whole nother episode talking about kids and maybe even their kids.
Yeah. Something that's been on my list to look up for a while that I just haven't taken the time to do is I'd like to look more into like trusts is a big one.
Sure.
passing down wealth. There's just a lot to learn there. Different tax accounts. I mean, if you're looking at kids stuff, there's 529s. Like if you want to save for your kids' college and stuff,
Yeah.
there's a lot of different aspects of that. If anyone else is curious on that, let me know. And then I'll get bumped to the top of my list, do some research.
So it's on mine. Bump it up.
Okay.
Back to gold.
Yep.
Stock market potentially failing. Like, is there anything that's like recession proof? Like, I mean, if everything's going down, is one better than the other?
Typically when you see like inflation, people start to pour into safer assets like gold. If you look at gold spot price, like since I've recently come to the thesis that I'm going to diversify and store value in multiple ways, gold being one of them. This was, I'll call it a month ago. Gold was like $3,450 an ounce, $3,450 an ounce. And then now, like a month later, it's like over 3,700. It's like,
Really?
yeah. And ultimately, if you look at the way the stock market's been acting, I mean, Wall Street's been pricing in or in anticipation of a rate cut, and we did get a rate cut, 25 basis points, but they know interest rates are probably going to come down, and not, it's not politics, but Trump even said like they're going to run inflation hot, like we're really trying to grow the economy, and that will come at some inflation. So like inflation is eminent at this point. To what degree, nobody knows, but it's probably not going to be great. And one thing people flood into, gold. So I think gold's going to do really well. Basically anything you can like store value in, realistically.
Yeah.
Real
Like
estate, gold, Bitcoin, that kind of stuff.
Bitcoin. Hey, I seen these like little computers that mine Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know anything about those?
So I've watched a handful of videos, and they're really intriguing to me. I'm a welder. I'm not like a IT person. I'm not like super tech savvy. Like I can do what, your most average people can do. So I've never I always felt like it's like trying to code something or create an app. Like if you just have no experience in that, it's like so daunting.
Yeah, it's like,
So I've always I've been kind of curious and stuff and whatever, but I've seen some videos lately that I've watched that are pretty intriguing. Like it's not very hard to set up a basic mining unit, and there's just like a lot of products out there.
so what is mining? So like these little computers, they just do a bunch of like math problems to get Satoshis?
So ultimately they're trying to solve a math problem continually all the time, and when they solve the right math problem at the right time, you can kind of call it like guessing the right answer almost. It's basically about how efficient the computer is. But when that happens and they complete a block, you get paid Bitcoin for completing that math problem. Is like the simplest way I can put that.
What is a block?
I'll save that for another episode. This quickly goes down very in depth.
Jumping down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, there's a lot of context around that, but essentially, there's like a giant ledger, and it's called blockchain. So like, there's this block is the history of all transactions, and then all the recent transactions that get added on top of this one and create a block. So it's ultimately like a running ledger. So when that block gets completed, you get paid Bitcoin, and right now it's like 3.25-ish Bitcoin, I believe. And if you've ever heard of halving cycles, like as time goes on, your reward for completing a block goes down, and that tapers off the supply of Bitcoin. But there's a lot of like mining has been around forever. As the reward or as the amount of Bitcoin you get as a reward goes down, if all other variables being the same, the profitability goes down, but also the price of Bitcoin is going up. So it's not always profitable to mine Bitcoin.
But these machines are like only like $200.
So there's kind of a difference with this. I'll get into this, but they're also very energy heavy. So like they use a tremendous amount of electricity to solve these math problems. And the ones that I've looked at or been intrigued by, they're making very inexpensive miners, and ultimately what they're doing is they're very low cost to operate. They're very low cost to purchase. The odds of you successfully completing a block is roughly like 1 in 20, depending on the model. Like there's a lot of variables, but like one of the ones I've looked at, it's like a 1 in 20 to 1 in 21,000 chance of completing a block. And on average, I think blocks are completed roughly every like 10 minutes.
I feel like that's not that bad because like the odds of winning a lottery are 1 in 300 million.
So those miners are, or that style of mining is kind of been coined lottery mining. So ultimately what it's kind of like doing is buying a lottery ticket and you're hoping those, your numbers come up. It's not as powerful as a computer. Obviously it's $200,
but with better odds.
Right. So it's trying to complete this math function. And if it doesn't complete that block, like there's a new block every 10 minutes. So it's kind of like, it's called lottery mining. It's kind of like buying a lottery ticket, but you get to use the ticket over and over and over.
Oh, that's convenient.
Indefinitely, really, until the last Bitcoin's mined. So that's kind of intriguing. Like lottery mining is one style of mining. Another one that's semi-popular is you buy a mining rig, and then based on, you basically pay for your own energy costs and stuff, but basically a bunch of people get together, and it's called pool mining, and companies host this. So you'll join like a pool, and all of you will work together, and then when one of you is successful, it gets spread out among all of you. So if you get 3 Bitcoin and there's 30 of you, it gets divided 30 ways.
Oh, that's cool.
So pool mining is another thing. To be like a full-on miner and stuff, like a lot of these people are building like literal warehouses, and they have more electricity run to them than like your house. Like most people don't have like 240 volt appliances. Like if you run like heavy welders at home, or like most of these people don't have even the proper electrical service to their house. Like these consume a lot of energy, and some of these are like water cooled. Those aren't always necessarily profitable. I mean, those units are tens of thousands of dollars. You're pretty serious at that point. And like they turn these on and off depending on prices of energy and prices of Bitcoin. The pool mining can be profitable, but the lottery ones kind of have intrigued me. I don't know, just for that fact of you can buy something sub $200, plug it into the wall, hook it up to the network, and with just like a Wi-Fi connection. They don't use much more electricity than a light bulb. You have like a 1 in 20 to 1 in 21,000 roughly chance of completing a block is like kind of appealing. Because a block, I mean, it's
almost $500,000.
It's like 350, 375,000.
Sure.
Ish. It's like, even over the next 5 years, like if you hit it once, like $200 into that kind of money is kind of intriguing. It's also kind of like that intro into it, or if you just want to learn something.
Yeah.
So it's kind of that aspect for me.
And you do like to gamble.
Yeah.
Speaking of gambling, can you tell me what shorting is?
Not gambling. Shorting, we'll say in the context of the stock market. Shorting is if you see a company and you are basically placing a bet, or you have
Gambling.
No. Ultimately, if you're making a prediction that a stock is going to go down, let's use Robinhood brokerage, for example. If you were to buy stocks in Google, like you don't get sent like a physical thing. Like you don't get like a certificate. Like they hold on to it. They custodian it more or less. What they'll end up doing is if I want to short Google, we'll just say, I don't think Google's going down. This isn't advice. If I think Google's going to go down, I can then short the stock. And what that means is Robinhood would then lend me your shares. If you own Google, I will sell them. When I don't own them, I'll sell them. And then when the price goes down, I'll buy them, and then they give them back to you to make you whole.
Oh, interesting.
And typically you pay like some small percentage in interest, but basically what you're making a bet on is that a stock will go down. A lot of people will say there's a lot of risk in shorting. I don't disagree with that, but I think there's like more context around that. With shorting, there's an infinite loss potential. And what that means is like if you were to buy what's called going long, which is buying a share of Google, and you hope it goes up. The worst case scenario is after you buy it, it goes to zero. It's 100% loss. If I buy it at 100 and it goes to 1,000, that's really bad for me. If it goes to 10,000, that's really bad for me.
Sure.
So basically, there's an infinite number the price can go up to.
That you would just be out.
Correct. That I later would have to buy that stock back. It's not like the Wild West. It's not like you can just go to infinity.
Right.
Meaning like if there is what's called a margin call price. If the price goes up to a predetermined amount, there's risk that I can't afford to buy it back, or like someone's going to be left on the hook, and the brokerages, they're never going to get left on the hook. So what'll happen is if it goes up to like 125, they automatically sell it for you.
Oh, and
they automatically buy it back for you.
And you just take those losses.
And then I take the loss. So there's what's called a margin call price. But also, even outside of that, like we'll just keep saying Google. If you buy Google at 100 and it goes down to 75, maybe you don't sell. If it goes down to 50, maybe you don't sell. If it goes down to like $5, like everyone kind of has a pain point, like this isn't going to come back. Like, is anyone realistically going to hold it to like zero? Like if it goes from 100 and it's 5 cents, like, are you going to sell it at 5 cents because in fears it's going to go to 4 cents? Like,
right.
I mean, ultimately everyone has like a pain point of like, it's just not coming back. Like something catastrophic has happened. So it's like kind of in the same sense. Like there is margin call prices for this reason, but like if I sold Google, if I went short, it goes from 100 to like 150. It's like, well, that's not good. But like, I'm not going to like, you can't hold it that long, but like nobody's like, if it goes up to 100,000, no one's going to be like, I'm just going to, I'm going to keep riding this train. It's like, no, like
right.
Everyone has like so there is theoretically an infinite loss potential, but like nobody buys a stock and then rides it to literal zero.
Sure.
Like, and nobody goes short, and Google goes from 100 to 100,000. They're like, no, it's going to go below 100 again. Like nobody does that. So like, yes, there's some risk with that, but like that argument to me is like kind of a moot point. Like it's just not really that relevant. I have gone short on stocks before.
How's that panned out?
I'm trying to think how many times I have. I can count on one hand. Overall, I'm at a win rate.
Nice.
I've never for a long period of time worth like a large amount of money, but like
Right.
years ago at one point, like Hertz rent-a-cars weren't doing that great. Like it's funny. We were at Arizona on a family vacation and we were in like a Hertz rental car, and I literally was going short on their stock. It was kind of comical. Some people also don't agree with it, or like, they think it's morally wrong, but like, I don't necessarily agree with that. Like if you think a company is overvalued, like, and you don't think it, warrants that price, I don't know. It does put downward pressure on a stock. And for those of you who've heard or don't know about, what happened to GameStop, essentially what GameStop was, or why, basically there was a lot of short interest, meaning a lot of hedge funds had shorted GameStop, and ultimately their prediction was they were going to go bankrupt. Not many people go to the mall and buy a physical disc anymore.
No.
So ultimately they thought their business model was no longer viable and they were going to go to zero. So a lot of these hedge funds and larger companies took out short positions, large ones. And some individuals on Reddit found out about this.
Good old Reddit.
And then it went viral, and a lot of retail traders, you and I, not hedge funds, just people with brokerage accounts, all decided to start buying, started to buy GameStop. What had happened is all of these hedge funds or large institutions started to get margin calls. So a bunch of people are buying GameStop. The price is going up, and the other large institutions then had to fulfill their margin calls, and they had to buy these stocks, which then drove the price up more, which then caused more margin calls,
Oof.
which then went up more. And GameStop went, I don't remember what it was before this, but it was like, call it like $20 a stock, and it went to like $400.
Oh, wow.
And that was because of a short squeeze. You see a lot of people like, there's a lot of short interest at, Bitcoin. Like if it goes over 120, like it's going to rip because all these people are going to get margin called. Like that is a thing. I don't know if it's true with Bitcoin or not. I don't know how they gauge short interest. I don't even know how to go short on Bitcoin, to be honest, but I know it's plausible. But essentially that's what happened with GameStop when they hear like meme stocks and stuff like that. Like that's what happened with GameStop. So all these large institutions, like they didn't hold to like infinity. Like they lost money, but like their loss potential wasn't infinite per se. Like they got margin called. But that's what going short is. I have several times in the past. To me, it's not really any different than going long. Like ultimately, if you buy something, you need to figure out how long you're willing to hold it and what your expected rate of return is and what your target profit percentage is and what you're willing to accept as a loss. So like when I buy stuff, like if I see something go down and I think it's a viable company, I'm ultimately looking like I'll go anything like if it drops more than 5% from my position holding, like I'll typically just take the loss and I'm shooting for like 10%. Like you want your upside to be outsized in comparison to your downside. So I've gone short several times. Most of them have panned out. I think I might have only lost like once. I've never been margin called. But I mean, it's another strategy. There's a lot of large, like Bill Ackman, another big one, like Bill Ackman was very adamant that Herbalife was a Ponzi scheme. And he took out a massive short position on Herbalife. I forget how the trade ended up. There was another person on Wall Street that Carl Icahn, who's a pretty big name on Wall Street. Those two didn't get along. They've been in lawsuits in the past. He took a long position and they like duked it out. They're both on like live television and like, it's a Ponzi scheme. And he's like, you're just saying this, the stock price goes down and there's more lawsuits. And inevitably they found out that Herbalife at that time was more or less a Ponzi scheme. And they actually had to like remodel their business or like restructure stuff.
Oh, wow.
It was kind of like a big deal. But I think just kind of the way everything panned out, I don't think Bill Ackman made as much as he was anticipating, but I think he might have even lost money. But or like for those of you who have heard of The Big Short, the movie The Big Short, basically someone found an arbitrage. Like they found that all these mortgage-backed bonds were junk. And he said the housing market's going to crash. And he shorted all these bonds. And then inevitably he was right. And then we saw the housing crash in 08, 09. And that's what going short is. You're making a prediction. You're making a bet, not gambling, that the stock price will inevitably go down for whatever reason. Whether it's a Ponzi scheme or business is going bankrupt. But I've done it in the past.
You seem to find a lot of opportunity. I know we've discussed numerous things over the past years of Mondays. How do you keep your eye out for opportunity? Like, what do you look for?
Like in relation to the stock market?
Yeah, just anything. I mean, for a while there, you were flipping cars and trucks and looking at Bitcoin now and gold and even your different careers. Like, what do you do to look for opportunity?
I think the biggest thing for opportunity is just kind of putting yourself in the right room. So like when I was flipping a lot of cars and trucks, like when I worked on cars and trucks for a living, like you find ones that are broken and people ask you to fix them. And then you're like, hey, this car needs a tremendous amount of work. And they're like, well, I don't want to fix it. It's like, okay, I'll buy it. Same thing if you're like a real estate agent and like you sell houses every day. And then someone's like, this house needs a roof right now. Like there's a hole in the roof and they don't want to fix it. And it's like, well, I'll buy it. Ultimately, it's just fine. It's like putting yourself in the right opportunity, depending on like what industry you're in. Like if you can, that's the biggest thing. It's like how much knowledge or edge. Like if you work on cars for a living, a lot more people take their cars to me to fix. Like I'm going to have more opportunity in that space than you would in, your industry. So it's like the more information or exposure you can get, the better. That's kind of ends up being what most people's niches are. That's how I've kind of stumbled upon most of the advantages that I have. There's also a big difference between opportunities falling in your lap, like what I was just saying, like more opportunities fall in your lap, but also like looking for opportunities also helps. So like people might bring their broken car that they don't want to fix, but if I'm also actively searching, on different, sales places, websites, marketplace, Craigslist, whatever, like you'll find more.
I think that's more or less what I was getting at. It's probably just your drive, I think, comes down to most of it. There was a professor who was lecturing his students, and he was like, hey, how many silver cars did you see on the way to work today?
Mm-hmm.
And it was, I don't know. And then he goes, but if I asked you to look for silver cars on the way to work tomorrow, like, you're going to say, hey, I saw 5.
Or if you just repeat that question every day, like,
he may ask, how many red cars did you see? And you may not be looking for red cars, but you will probably see them while you're looking for silver cars.
kind of like a cognitive bias at that point, like
Yeah.
it sticks in your head.
And I think the same goes for opportunity. It's just, if you're looking for it, you're more apt to find it.
Absolutely. Even back to like flipping cars, like when I used to buy and sell cars and fix them and sell parts and all this other stuff. I still, as of recently, not really recently, but in the past year or two, have also, same thing, like looked for those opportunities. And one, not being in that industry has made it much more difficult. But 2, the arbitrage just isn't there anymore. It used to be, you'd go on Craigslist and like you'd find stuff for sale all the time and you could fix it, sell it. Not everyone was dialed in to the market, but now like everyone's on Facebook and like everyone uses Marketplace now. It's like, it's just always around. There's no money to be made. Like there's just so many people use it. The barrier to entry, like you had to put in effort before, and now it's just like there's such a low barrier to entry that there's no difference in the buy and sell prices. The opportunities aren't there. Like it's 10x the competition for 1/10 the return. It's just not worth it. Like I can't find opportunities anymore. It's just not worth it. Or the amount of resources you have to pour in to like continually watching it every day, or go look at 5 cars to be lucky to buy one. Like it's just, it's not worth it.
I think that's very important to consider too, is when to cut your losses. Like if that segment is just washed out, I mean, you probably should be looking for opportunity elsewhere.
Yeah. It's kind of like flipping houses too. Like flipping houses is great until it's not. Like for whatever reason, either like all the fixer-uppers are sold or like the interest rates are really bad. Like
BlackRock owns them all.
Yeah. Like it's just kind of, there's flows, but I found it increasingly more difficult with my skill set in buying and selling like physical items with the advent of Marketplace. It's just been, I don't know, way harder.
Is this item still available?
Yeah. Oh man, I hate Marketplace. It's useful, but it's tough. I like that you track your net worth quarterly. I don't track. I look at my IRA, like my personal brokerage. I look at Bitcoin. I look at all these accounts, but I don't ever like sit down because there's a lot of things that play into it, like life insurance and stuff. Like people don't always calculate that stuff. I really should track what my actual net worth is and do that like quarterly. Because I also figure like I want X amount of Bitcoin or like I want to buy gold. I'd like to dial in what percentage of my net worth I want these things in. It's kind of hard to just like pick a number and then figure out your exposure.
Right.
Like if you're me and you just put a bunch of money in retirement, you don't own a home, like a lot of your net worth is just in your retirement account, which isn't, there's risk there.
Yeah.
It's just lack of diversification.
And everyone's going to be different, but I found it to be very useful because I've been doing this for 3-4 years now. I can't remember, but I've got all the sheets and all the numbers. And one of the things that I did was 2 years ago, I made a net worth projection sheet also.
Okay.
And I dragged it out, I think, 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been enlightening. I took modest numbers for the calculations. So like above average high inflation, like low return on 401ks and stuff, and like low asset appreciation. Thank you. So all modest numbers, and like interestingly enough, like I'm 2 years into this projection now, and every year I will duplicate it and start a new tab.
Oh, I like that.
So I can see how much has changed. Well, so far I'm only off $4,000, and it's positive. So like I'm doing better than projected, but it's only by $4,000. So in the scheme of things, that's not a lot.
Yeah, which is arguments both ways. It's like either it's accurate or like your worst case or bear case is you're kind of on par with that. Like you're not making, it's not like you're expecting 50% returns and no inflation. Like it's not like a ridiculous prediction.
But on the other hand, if this trend continues, I won't be where I want to be when I want to be.
That's very important too.
So
now what do you do about it?
Exactly. And that's why I'm continuing to look for other opportunities, is because I want a little bit more. Like I'd be comfortable. The family would be good. But I'd like to see it more than good.
Yeah. That's one thing like I look at now. I see a lot of people our age that just put some money in retirement and like they don't plan for that, or they're like, live for now. You might not live forever. It's like, well, you might be 85 and still working and just getting by. And that's not what I'm looking for, but
yeah, there's definitely a balance.
Yeah. It's easier to create that balance. I mean, I know people that put a lot of money in retirement, like a lot every year. And that's fine. Like they have predictions of what they want to make in retirement and stuff, but
doesn't make them any better at pool.
I mean, ultimately, like if you have kind of a number picked out of like, you know, how much you want to make, or you make that calculation, like you may not need to put that much in. Like there's people that literally put in more than they need. And it's like, if you want to make $1 million a year in retirement, and it's like, well, they're projecting to make $2 million a year. It's like, well, you can spend more of that money now.
Right.
Like you can put too much into retirement, like at the cost of not buying something today, like a house. Like you don't necessarily want to wait till you're 75 to buy a house. Like that may not economically make the most sense.
Right. Or even diversifying into other assets.
Yeah. So that's been kind of on my list. I need to do that and figure out and start allocating actual percentages.
Let me know if you want the spreadsheet to duplicate.
If anyone else is curious too, we can
mock one up. And
create kind of like a blank one, or
share it. Yeah.
Or, you know, share how we calculate it. And before we go here, a word from today's sponsor. Today's video is brought to you by the like button. Like and subscribe. Yeah, it's good to talk about net worth, rounding that out for Q3. We're looking to do quarterly seasons. So we're about to start season 2 here. Something you want to hear about, let us know. Got a few things in the works. Might have a few surprises in there as well. Maybe a guest appearance or two.
Don't tell them what the surprise is.
For our listeners, when's the last time you checked your net worth?
Yeah, I like that. Drop a comment below the last time you did.
I'm going to start doing it. It's overdue. We'll see you on the next one. Like and subscribe.